My name is Arin Lindauer, and you're listening to A Life Without Struggle. I'm a wife, a mother of 2 wonderful children, a 2-time best-selling author, and a highly driven and successful entrepreneur. In my 17-plus year career as a mindset and health expert, I know what holds women back from a life you only dream about. Whether you're a CEO, a businesswoman, or executive, I started this podcast because I have been where you are, and I know you want and deserve more out of your life. I believe women are limitless. We just get lost along the way. The process to get you there is the topic and purpose of this podcast. When you understand what you want, you can truly step into a life without struggle. Welcome, and I'm so thankful you're here. Welcome back to another episode of Life Without Struggle. My name is Arin Lindauer, and today we're digging into very tactical information on how to effectively execute your nutrition. Hands down, nutrition is the biggest opportunity for any woman that I'm coaching and supporting. And so many times women just want to work out, we want to do cardio, and we really think that that's going to solve all of our problems. So today I want to dig into a little more tactical, hey, here's what to do, here's what to implement, here's what to think about, especially when it comes to your nutrition. Nutrition is literally everything. I tell women all the time, number one, in order to lose weight, you have to address your nutrition. You absolutely have to address your nutrition. And then if you desire to shape, and I don't love this word, but sculpt your body or have definition, tone, strength to your body, actually see your muscles, not just look skinny, you have to lift and progressively with overload and time under tension. And there's so much that goes into an effective lifting strategy, which I could actually do a whole podcast on that. So let me know if that's of interest to you guys. But first and foremost, thank you everyone for giving this podcast the 5-star rating. And if you haven't yet, just take 2 seconds, click those 5 stars and share some feedback on how these podcasts have impacted your life. And keep sharing the show. Keep sharing this with other like-minded women or women that you feel need lifted up, need some good just coaching and advice. And, I would love to have a warm introduction if appropriate and see if I can help her further. So, all right, let's dig into this. So we've got 3 different ways that I'm going to take our conversation here today. And then I also have a bonus for this podcast. So the first and foremost thing, when we want to effectively execute our nutrition, number one, we have to understand your goal. What do you actually desire? What do you want the outcome to be when it comes to, why you would do certain nutrition, why you would do certain strategies, or why you would eat a certain way versus another? Too many times I feel like we're running in both directions. We want to throw muscle mass on, but we want to run a marathon. Just FYI, that was me back in the day. I was like, I'm going to PR and run this amazing marathon, but I want to get jacked and huge. And it was like, okay, hey, you can't do both at the same time. So all good. It's all good. So we have to understand, what do we want to achieve with our body? What kind of results do we desire? If you desire weight loss, and I will be honest, majority of the women that I work with, I talk to, I see on a daily basis is, we do need to lose some adipose tissue or fat tissue. And yes, of course, the scale is going to go down as a byproduct, and we can call that weight loss. So we have to understand that in order to achieve weight loss, you are going to have to be in a caloric deficit where the calories that you burn in a day exceed the amount of calories that you take in. Too many times we do not realize how many calories we are consuming. Here in Indiana, where I'm located currently, that we do not require restaurants to have their calories on their menus. Now, in different, more forward states, they have adopted this and it is part of everyone's menu. Now, if you go to different restaurants that maybe are nationally, have a national presence, then yeah, you may get a menu that has all the calories. And I was at one of those breakfast restaurants called First Watch, and it's a really great restaurant. They have really good options, but oh my gosh, even what you think is the healthier option is 790 calories or 800 calories or 1,000 calories. And I'm just like, why? Why does it have to be that many calories? Or I wish that there was a light version, meaning not light as in we've used fat-free, non-fat, all that kind of racket. I just mean that it's just a smaller portion. I really wish that we could do that because pretty much most of those meals we just need to cut in half. Literally, we just need to cut those meals in half. And so I also wish it was just a crime. You can't serve this many calories, like it's against the law or something. I don't know. I don't know if I would go that far, but you kind of get where I'm going at is anytime we dine at a restaurant, the portions are so huge, or just the stuff that they put in there, obviously to make it very savory, very yummy, to make you want to come back for more, is stuff that is going to produce more calories. So again, coming back to this, if we desire weight loss, we are going to have to create a caloric deficit. Now, let's say you've lost your weight, you're feeling really good with where the scale is hanging, but you're going, man, I just look skinny, or I'm a skinnier version of myself. I don't have any tone or definition to my body. Then we're going to want to think about gaining muscle mass. Now, here is the thing. You can gain muscle mass while dropping body fat, and that takes being very disciplined. It takes understanding what your numbers need to be, and so it can be done. So a lot of people will go round and round about that topic, but I just want to kind of put it out there that you can gain muscle mass and drop body fat. A lot of times we will recommend just drop the body fat, get it off your body, and then we will go into more of what we call a mass building. And that doesn't mean that all of a sudden you're going to be She-Ra over here. But what it means is you're putting on a good amount of lean tissue. And that's something that a lot of women don't realize how much lean tissue you actually need on your body, meaning the scale may actually go up in order to achieve the desired look. Even myself, early on in my lifting years, I was like, man, I just look like a skinnier version of myself. And so what I want to get at here today is understanding that you've got to have the right program, the right plan for what you're actually wanting to achieve. So what we want to think about is, okay, is my goal weight loss? Okay, great. This is what I'm going to focus on, especially when it comes to our nutrition and what we actually need to do in order to see the desired result. And the same with, for example, if you were desiring to put on lean tissue, you are going to eat a little bit differently. You are going to have a different workout plan that and you're also going to have a totally different recovery strategy, which that in itself is a whole nother podcast that I could do. So we've got to know the goal inside and out to understand what kind of nutrition is going to support what we need to do on a daily basis. So I'm curious to understand where you're personally at here today, and would love for you to reach out to me on socials and ask these questions like, hey, here's where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Am I on the right track? It's wild how easily and quickly I can say, hey girl, right track, or whoa, no, left field, stop what you're doing. That is not going to work. So many times I see women just crazy restrict themselves. They'll do keto, intermittent fasting. They'll do both of those all at the same time. They'll do, all these different diets. And when in reality, we just need to focus on increasing that protein. Need to reduce the number of calories, maybe get a food scale and start actually weighing and measuring things just so that you can get a good perspective, because this is one of the biggest opportunities that most women and men, if we're being completely honest, they're just consuming too many calories. And that is what creates gaining excess fat year after year after year. So the second thing that we want to think about when we want to effectively execute our nutrition is we want to think about the overall plan and how to prep. Like, what do we need to do in order to see our food actually get executed and do it in a way that produces the end result? So there's a lot that can go into this, and this is where I feel we can overcomplicate this. We can make this really hard on us, or like, if I can't execute this perfectly, screw it, I'm not going to do it at all. And as the saying goes, there's a million ways to skin the cat. Well, there's a million different ways to plan and prep our food. So some things that I want you to consider or really think about and what would work for you is, do you know what you like to cook? Do you know what kind of foods you enjoy? Are you focusing on having a protein source, a vegetable, a piece of fruit, or is it constantly stuff that's coming out of a box or prepackaged, this and that? And so, granted, they have made prepackaged stuff better, but not perfect. So what we want to think about is, okay, what days do I need to cook? What days do I have time to cook? And then there's a bonus. What days do I want to cook? But let's just be real. Most of us don't want to cook all the time. And so it's really understanding, okay, this is when I would actually cook my food. This is when I would prep my meals. This is when I would get my groceries. And it's time well spent. I know, listen, none of this is sexy. None of this is exciting. But when you can plan and take a little bit of time, very quickly, you can get yourself in a really good rhythm. And this becomes very, very easy. It becomes second nature for you. So know what you want to cook. Gather some recipes, find a few ideas. For myself personally, I typically cook about 3 different recipes throughout the week. And I keep things super, super simple. And I've definitely had to fall in love with having leftovers, which is not always my most favorite thing to do. So the other thing that you want to actually consider as well is, do you want all your food cooked and ready to go so that all you have to do is pull it out and reheat it? That's an option that at different times and points in our life, it can be wildly helpful. So you want to think about, where am I at? What would be easy? What would be convenient, but also keeps me on my plan? There's a lot of different local food meal prep services now, which are really great. There's also some national ones that you can consider doing. Things like Factor 45 have been one. Clean Eats is another franchise that I've seen across the US that people enjoy their food. But I think, like all things, you can get tired of it. So it's something to think about at different times and spaces. I know sometimes what I have done is, if I know, for example, we're going to be gone on a vacation, typically speaking, I have planned ahead of time to have food delivered, basically either a grocery or a meal prep service delivered for that following week, because everybody knows when you get back from a vacation, the last thing you want to do is cook. And so it's something to just keep in the back of your mind that, hey, maybe I've got a few of these tucked away in the freezer and it's a quick and easy when nobody feels like cooking. Now, I get it's not the most economical when it comes to food, but it's, again, how can I create success? What does success look like for you? And it's something to really consider. Another thing that I think has been really helpful for a lot of my clients is understanding that you can just have some simple ingredients ready to go. Something, for example, like having chicken breast pre-cooked, grilled, chopped up, seasoned, whatever it looks like. Like, I've got chicken right now sitting in the fridge marinating, that all I got to do is literally throw it on the grill and voila, we have a quick and easy protein, and I'll probably roast some vegetables, and it's a pretty easy meal that everybody enjoys. But another thing that you can really think about is having some protein already cooked up, having veggies already washed and chopped, and you can make yourself a really quick and easy stir fry. You can make a taco salad with some, quick ingredients and seasonings. You can put together a really quick burger and throw them on the grill. I mean, there's so many things that if we just take a moment and we say, ooh, I could whip this up pretty quick because I already have these ingredients, that's something that I highly recommend having available to you. So you can almost consider mixing and matching. One thing that I have shared with clients all the time is there's so many clients that love eggs. So having your eggs, your piece of toast, heaven forbid you put some butter on it, go get them. Or we like a protein shake or a Greek yogurt and fruit for breakfast. That has been like most of my clients' go-tos. Lunches, I will see an array of things, but a lot of us tend to navigate to either leftovers or we'll grill up some chicken, throw it on a salad. And so we just want to keep this simple. And those two meals, reasonably speaking, nobody screws those up, right? Like we're pretty standard. We can eat the same things. Dinner is where I feel we have a lot of opportunities to make easy and quick decisions for ourselves, things that are going to go over well, things that we're going to enjoy for a couple more meals is something to think about. But it goes back to just taking a second to plan and prep. I know we're going to be at home on Monday. Tuesday, we're going to be at the ballpark. Wednesday, we're going to be, and it's just like you forecast winning because you looked at your schedule ahead of time. Now, granted, stuff does come up. And so maybe you schedule a night out where it's like, hey, we're going to be coming from swim practice to band practice to, you know what, let's just go ahead and plan. And we're going to have this or this for dinner. And that's the kind of planning and strategy that really just takes all the pressure off of women because they already know what they're going to do. And it's just a matter of executing it. That was something I was having a conversation with one of my clients she was like, I just feel so in control because I have a plan and then it's just a matter of executing it. But then we also talked about, okay, but give grace that sometimes it doesn't perfectly go as planned, but it's still okay. Okay. The third thing that I want you to think about when you want to effectively execute your nutrition is look for your portions and look for the protein. These are the biggest opportunities, especially when we're desiring weight loss, that gets overlooked every single day of the week. Most women do not eat enough protein, not even close. They truly and sincerely need to match their ideal body weight in grams of protein. And anytime a woman is like, wait, what? You want me to eat 150 grams of... Yes, I do, especially if we're going to resistance train. But it's amazing how full you feel. It's amazing how much energy you have when you put that kind of protein. But I will tell you, it's like pulling teeth most days to get most women to have 100 grams of protein. And they think I'm crazy saying, well, actually, that's cool, but you're going to need more. So then the other opportunity is truly portions. We really have to understand that we can overconsume all day, every day. And so I highly recommend sticking to a breakfast, lunch, dinner, especially if you're desiring weight loss. Now, there are different situations where I will say, yes, definitely have a snack depending on how a woman is responding from her energy, cravings, hunger. And so it's okay to get a little uncomfortable in this process. It's okay to have an edge of hunger. And the cool thing is that always passes. Anytime you feel like that scale won't move, you have to create a little bit more of a deficit. And every 10 pounds that you're losing, you do need less calories. So it's something to really think about is, okay, where today, maybe you're sitting at 180 pounds, what you did to get to 180 pounds, let's say you started at 190, is going to be different to get you to 170. So we have to understand that we create this caloric deficit, but it has to be enough to move that needle and to keep you motivated. And I'll tell you what, when you dine out at restaurants, it is very, very challenging just depending on what's in that food, but it can be done. So I don't want to sit here and say, oh my gosh, can't lose weight and eat at a restaurant, majority of your days. That's not true either. So I wanted to throw in a bonus, and some of you guys are going to completely roll your eyes when you hear this bonus, but I wanted to put together, these 3 topics to really, understanding how to effectively execute your nutrition, from you've got to know your goal, got to plan and prep, and then the portions and protein are so important. But here's a huge bonus that I'm going to drop. You have to do this day in, day out, day in and day out. The consistency is absolutely not sexy, not fun, not exciting, but that is where you see the most results. The most results come with the person who can get up and effectively execute all day, every day. And again, I know this isn't exciting, but it's something to truly lean into is, have you done the things long enough? Meaning, have you created the caloric deficit long enough? Did you give yourself a gimme on Monday? Did you give yourself a gimme on Tuesday? Did you give yourself see? And that's what happens is I've been good, I can have X. I've been good, I can have Y. But it's so-and-so's birthday, I'm going to have blah, blah, blah. And so it's really, really important to understand that, we do need to be on point and we do have to stick to our plan. Is there some wiggle room? Depends. It depends on your height, your weight. I've told some women that are super close to their goal, I'm like, you have no wiggle room. Okay. What you did to get to this point, cool, but you don't have wiggle room anymore. And so you just have to really stay focused in on what is there to gain by hitting this goal. I feel good in my own skin. I'm super excited to put any clothes on because they all fit. You have to stay in the desired outcome and just truly trusting and believing that she's out there, she's possible, and it's just a matter of time. So I hope this was helpful from a little bit more of a tactical strategy. And truly and sincerely, at the end of the day, all of this comes together when you're consistently executing day in and day out. All right, ladies, let's go get them.